Game one of our ASA Super National semifinal featured plenty of explosive power. The long ball on display by Hortonbach Easton. They hit 6 round trippers in the first 3 innings, helping build an early 11-0 lead. But Sonny's came back strong. Bryce Oliveira, a couple of home runs as Sonny's came all the way back within 2 runs. But in the end, Hortonbach Easton escapes 22-20 to move on to the championship game, leaving Sonny's to play in an elimination game. And CBS Sports Network is happy to be bringing you that elimination game between Sonny's and Rip City right now from St. Paul's Midway Stadium. Game 2, our final national semifinal, with the winner moving on for a chance to be crowned ASA Super National Champ for 2013, the loser to go home. Dave Benz alongside Mike Woodley. And Mike, this tournament really is an example of what people do all over the nation every weekend. Get out and play slow pitch softball.
The only difference is these are the very best in the United States playing in one particular tournament. This is an open tournament. The best can come here. You can pick your team, whoever you want. It's an invitational. They're here. The best teams are here, but we're not just seeing long hitting. You'd think with a game where a team lost scoring 20 runs, what really worked for them was small ball, but still, so that's what brought them into this tournament.
Yeah, let's talk about this tournament. 8 total teams by invitation only. You have to be the best of the best to get into this tournament. And we talked about making the comparisons to what you see on your local softball field. These guys are studs on this field. They would be out of this world on the local softball field.
They are. And the rules, of course, accommodate that. These guys can hit home runs, but they also are good athletes. We've seen fine defensive plays as well as home runs in this tournament, and we'll expect to continue to see that more in this game right now.
Now, regular softball players will be familiar with some of the rules, perhaps not all, though. There is a little bit of a twist for this particular tournament, and for that, let's get down to the third member of our broadcast crew. Natalie Nias joins us now from the field. Natalie?
Dave, Mike, thank you. You are right. We want to keep things moving in these softball games, so these rules are designed to make these games go fairly quickly, as we saw with that first game. Start with a 1-and-1 count. Also, there's a 16 home run limit. Number 17 is an out. That might sound like a lot, but as you'll see here in game 2, we get a lot of home runs in these softball games. Foul ball with 2 strikes is considered an out. Also, the distances are shorter. The pitching distance is 50 feet, the base distance 75 feet. And folks, we do have a mercy rule with all those home runs. The run-ahead rule is 20 runs after 4 and 15 after 5. Guys?
All right. Thank you very much, Natalie. Let's get into our key players to watch in this game. So many big hitters, so many great athletes. Who are you looking at here for Rip City?
Well, Chris Larson's the guy. He was the 2010 Long Haul Bomber home run champion. He went 3 for 4 in their game to get him here with a home run. I think we're going to see more of Chris Larson, but he's not the only guy, but he's going to be the leader offensively, most likely, for this team.
Yeah, Chris Larson, a guy who actually works designing softball bats. He also knows how to use the softball bats to try and carry his team. He's hoping for a chance in the title game against Hortonbach Auto Eastern. Now, as far as Sonny's, they lost that first semifinal game, so they have to play a second consecutive game. What's your key player in this one?
Well, I think we got a number of key players. Of course, you got Greinert. There he is. Chris, who is the big man. He's just shy of 300 pounds, 6'6". They need him to do maybe a little bit more than he did in the first game. They need home runs from him. He was doing opposite field, getting on base. That's good, but they might need him to be a killer today to get some home runs in.
Yeah, he was 3 for 5 with no home runs. Single, double, triple, 3 runs scored in that first game. Most players would think that's a pretty good stat line, but not for Chris Greinert. They need more power from him. We're going to have starting lineups coming your way after this timeout. We're just getting started with semifinal number 2 here on CBS Sports Network.
You don't have to know a thing or the right words to sing, 'cause all you gotta do is stay here for a while and be you.
The white sands, warm waters, and unmistakable fun of Panama City Beach are waiting. So plan your trip to the real fun beach today at visitpanamacitybeach.com.
It's time to relax and get real.
The 2014 DeMarini Flipper Aftermath is your ticket to ride for high-level ASA play. Locked and loaded with DeMarini's new and improved divergence technology, the massive sweet spot on the Aftermath is extended horizontally around the barrel, making this the bat of choice for any serious ASA league and tournament players. Join players like DeMarini long haul bombers Chris Larson, Donovan Pekraka, and Dale Brungaard and take total control of your game. DeMarini, insane dedication to performance. New this season, the Miken KF30 Kevin Philby Supermax 100% composite and Miken's HPI epoxy produces a game-changing level of performance. Check out Miken's Denny Crine DC41 Supermax hyperbolic barrel flex technology, delivering a 20% bigger sweet spot. Both bats are engineered utilizing 100% premium aerospace grade fiber to deliver Miken's legendary performance and durability. Miken, made in the USA.
I grew up on a farm in a small town upstate New York, and I got started in slow pitch. I was still in high school, believe it or not. I could hit a softball over 300 feet, so it was just kind of one of those things where I just had that natural power when I was 15 years old. I don't have to have the hottest performing bat. I have to be comfortable when I'm in the box. It is really about what's going to give you the best chance for success. We have something for everybody. Honestly, just come out and swing them. The response to our whole line for this year has been tremendous. They're legit, absolutely awesome.
ASA Softball, the national governing body of softball in the United States. Follow us at asasoftball.com or on Facebook or Twitter. It's time to get out and play ASA.
Long Haul Trucking, an industry leader in on-time delivery and safety. Long Haul is looking for quality drivers ready for a high-paying, stable career. Long Haul quite simply has the coolest trucks on the road, featuring the revolutionary retractable tarping system. Every load is delivered on time and damage-free. If you're a dependable driver, ready to go the extra mile for our valued customer, log on now. LongHaulTrucking.com. Long Haul Trucking, running on the power of promises kept.
And back in beautiful downtown St. Paul, Minneapolis, where we are just about set for Game 2 of our ASA National Super Semifinal. And Sonny's, who lost in the first semifinal, now faces elimination if they do not win this game this afternoon. And they will turn to a new pitcher in this game. They did not go with Carl Blank in the first semifinal, but they are going with him here in semifinal number 2. And his team will take the mound first as Sonny's has won the flip. They will be the home team facing on Rip City, the visiting team for this game. Brian Barnett will lead off and play second. Dale Bubba Brungart, a big-time hitter at the hot corner and third base. Larson, Burns, Pekraka, Arnold, Butner, Wethington, and Schlitz. And then we go to page 2 because, yes, Rip City will use the extra hitter, so they will bat 11. Jamie Tiernan and Billy Heron will round it out for Rip City. Let's take a look at the defense for Sonny's. It'll be Ramirez, Davis, and Giel in the outfield. Christensen, Pesso, Oliveira, and Cunningham around the infield. And then we mentioned Blank. He'll be joined by Chris Greinert as the battery here for Sonny's. And let's talk about Sonny's. They fell behind early in that first game, having a chance to be the home team in this game. You know they'd like a shutdown inning to have a chance to actually maybe take a lead for once today.
Yeah, they were trailing early and battled back and played small ball. They actually out-hit, had more hits in the first game, which they lost, but they managed to hang in a game, made it very close. Weather, of course, it's getting a little steamy here in Minnesota, 88 degrees.
Look at that miles per hour, though.
Yeah, the wind is really blowing out now to the left, so that's going to be a big thing. If you're a right-handed hitter, you're in good shape. Left-handed hitters are going to struggle or have to get creative.
I'm suspicious of that humidity graphic, by the way. 53% seems a little low. It is much stickier than that in here. At least it feels a lot stickier. But we are set for baseball. For softball, you could see the flags blowing, and I say baseball because normally this is a baseball stadium. Let's remind people, this game being played in the home of the St. Paul Saints of baseball's independent league. Of course, a very well-known independent league team, and this is a nice stadium to be in.
No question. There have been players like Darryl Strawberry, Jack Morris. Many have come through here and played in this minor league park for that team. And the fences, if they want to know, 320 down the line and 400 to deep center.
And Brian Barnett starts the game off drawing the walk. So a runner aboard, and that runner is going to have a chance to run around the bases here because that goes well off the top of the wall out there and into the night, or the afternoon, I guess we should say, here in St. Paul. It is a 2-run home run. I'm not sure what that bounced off. That kind of threw me off a little bit.
Well, Bubba really made it a challenge because first of all, as he turns on it here, you see one of the best swings in softball. And Bubba watched it go. He wasn't sure because it hit right on top of the Hardware Hank sign. And fortunately for Bubba and his team, Rip City, falling on the outside of the fence up into the trees. First home run of the game, and the first lead of the game goes to Rip City.
Great second look at it by our crew there, right off the top of the sign. That was initially what I thought, but then there's a couple of little fences back there as well, so I wasn't sure if it went off one of those back fences. So 2-0, and then a pop-up there for Chris Larson. So the first out of the game for Rip City here as they enjoy this 2-0 lead.
Chris Larson came in disappointed. Of course, he wasn't able to clear the fence. Those that follow this game know he was the 2010 Long Haul Bomber home run champion. So no stranger to the long ball for Chris Larson.
And Chris Burns comes to the plate now. Chris Burns playing in the ASA B team with Iron City as well. Rip City, I should say, Ironhawks, and as he lines it back up the middle for the out, was a first-team All-American at the B level.
And there's a nice defensive play right on your toes. They come flying right back at you from 50 feet out. And that's a nice defensive play, and Sonny's showing that they're on their toes. A little warmed up after that earlier game.
By the way, a little bit different look here with Carl Blank being a lefty pitcher.
Here we go.
And again, we do start with a 1-1 count, so now the count back even at 2-2 after just a couple of pitches, and now the count will go full 3-2 here for Donovan Pokraka. Pokraka was a member of the Stadium Power Tour for the Long Haul Bombers, part of that group that travels around the country and puts on shows before big league games in major league parks. They had their finals last night, and that'll be coming up later on for you here on CBS Sports Network, what transpired Friday night, and the walk drawn there by Pokraka.
They've been dazzling major league crowds for some time. It all started back in 2003 with an exhibition, and the Minnesota Twins were hosting. They didn't believe that they could even hit the fences. Well, that night there was a 515-foot home run. They learned in a hurry that these guys can hit major league bombs.
So Arnold, the pitcher, steps to the plate, and he goes the opposite way, pops it up, and that is going to end the inning. But a good start here for Rip City. They get a couple of runners home on the 2-run home run by Bubba Brungart and enjoy a 2-0 lead with Sonny's coming to bat.
ASA Super National, presented by Long Haul Trucking on CBS Sports Network, is being brought to you by Easton Sports. There is a difference, and the difference is Easton. By Miken Sports, elite equipment for the elite player. Miken Sports. And by DeMarini. Upgrade your game with the DeMarini Stadium CL22 and Flipper Aftermath.
Little cookout going on outside Midway Stadium as the fans enjoying a beautiful sun-splashed Saturday afternoon here in St. Paul, Minnesota. The ASA Super National coming to town, and Sonny's will need to try and get some offense going a little bit earlier than they did in the first semifinal game. They'll look to Jeremy Davis to try and get things started. He was 0 for 4 in that first semifinal. He'll be followed by Cunningham, Greinert, Oliveira, Giel, Ramirez, Peso, Christensen, Carl Blank, the pitcher, and then Aaron Martinez, who has shifted to shortstop, and that will take a look at the offense now, or the defense now for Rip City, DeMarini, Pokraka, Heron, and Wethington around the outfield. Brungart, Tiernan, Barnett, and Schlitz comprise the infield. Arnold and Larson are your battery.
So look at the guys. This is their first game. Of course, Sonny's played in the game previous, so they're warmed up and ready to go.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, Mike, because you put yourself obviously at a big disadvantage to be in the losers bracket, But now all of a sudden that disadvantage that you had to play with the last couple of days becomes an advantage because you didn't have to get up early this morning. You didn't have to get to the yard at the crack of dawn to get ready for the first game, and you're not playing in a second consecutive game of this heat. That's got to be a big advantage here for Rip City.
I guess the only other advantage is Sonny's is familiar with these conditions. They know which way the wind is blowing. They've seen they were using it to their advantage, learning from it in the first game. Maybe that can be the edge that gives them the strength to battle back in this game.
As I mentioned, Jeremy Davis was 0 for 4 in that first game. He'll remain 0 for on the day because that clearly will be an error out there in left field. And he is going to make it all the way around to third base. But Donovan Pekraka, not sure exactly what happened, if that ball kind of sailed on him or what there, Mike.
Yeah, that's very uncharacteristic for Pekraka. Of course, I think, well, when you look at the wind, and we talked about it earlier, it's really blowing right in his face. And maybe he just misjudged it or the ball might have darted a little bit at the end. It's really a hawk out there in left field, and Pekraka made a very uncharacteristic error.
So that'll bring Cunningham to the plate. Charles Cunningham pinch hit in that first game and did come up with a single. Cunningham from Seattle, Washington, played some college baseball. Says he had a few workouts with some major league teams, but nothing ever came from it. A long fly ball out to center field. That's going to be enough to bring in Davis tagging up, and Sonny's gets a run on the board here, and it's back to a one-run game.
So many players can get close just to even get looked at or considered by a major league scout. Tells you what kind of college player you must have been when you think of all those guys that never even get that opportunity. We see throughout this, if you weren't with us earlier, many of these players, and we'll be talking about them, had opportunities. They were in minor league organizational systems for, in some cases, to AA or even, and done lots of things in the minors before they ended up here in this world of slow pitch softball.
Chris Greinert up. He's a guy who can hit the ball a long, long way. In that first game, though, as we talked about at the top of the broadcast, Mike did not display the power, displayed instead the hitting ability, and he puts it on display here again. Sends it right down the line, and he'll walk into second with a stand-up double.
That's a good sign for Greinert because he really wasn't pulling the ball in the first game at all. I think he would even admit that he just didn't seem to have his normal rhythm in that first game. Now, while that was not a home run, that was more like Chris Greinert. Line drive, hard hit ball, pulled down the left field line, and with the wind blowing out to left, that could be a good sign for Greinert and his team.
Greinert's nicknamed the Enforcer. Oliveira, the bouncer to third, and that is handled nicely there by Dale Brungart on the hop, gets the put out at first base.
Greinert moves to third. Let's see how Westy does here. Again, these guys are up and at him early this morning. There's that tough play at third base. Nice throw and the out.
Westy Giel, by the way, had himself a nice game in that first semifinal. 4 for 5 with a home run and 3 runs scored. Looking to continue his hot bat here in the afternoon game.
Oliveira was just thrown out at first. Had a big game in the first game, too, with a couple of home runs.
And Giel sends it to center, and Wind's playing with it a little bit, but no problem for Billy Heron as he reels it in, and that'll bring about an end to the first inning. So we've got one in the books here in St. Paul. It's just a one-run game. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in the action to the 5th inning. Well, welcome back to St. Paul, Minnesota, 7-5 as we move to the 5th, and this game is flying. I guess if you want fast softball, you just invite Denny Crine into the broadcast booth.
I'm just so glad to see you, Denny. I remember when you were just breaking into this, you were coming up with, there were guys like Mike Schenk around and Todd Martin, Jerling, those guys, and you were kind of a young guy then, playing kind of a utility role, and now look what you've become. What was it like for you to see some of those old classic guys, you know, the guys that maybe really paved the way for what's happening today, to have a chance to play with them and now be your own man, one of the big guys in this sport?
Due to time constraints, we move ahead in the action. Well, that's what I want to ask you, because I know a lot of people watching this are probably saying, okay, so first of all, wow, there's pro softball players, because a lot of people seeing this might not be aware of that. But then secondly, they might say, well, hey, I'm pretty good at softball. How do you make that jump? How do you go from being a guy that is playing softball, 3-4 times a week in a rec league and playing pretty well to making the jump to being a pro?
It's tough. You got to, like I said, you got to be in the right place at the right time. A lot of the off-season tournaments where you mix it up and play on different teams, if you're good enough, once you get your shot, if you take advantage of it, you can. Once you get in, people get to know you. You know, you're pretty much set. You know, as long as you're a good person.
So basically, if you're good enough, they'll find you.
Sometimes you got to do a little work. You got to do a little networking. You know, with the internet days and Facebook and all that, it's a little bit easier than when I first started. You know, I got lucky. A gentleman by the name of Brad Stiles moved to Vegas and gave me an opportunity to play with Long Haul my first year, and after that, it was, you know, what I had to take advantage of the opportunity. So.
Chris Burns trying to send that one into right after Chris Larson with that double. Still nobody out here for Rip City as they continue to bat in the 5th inning and have padded their lead to 10-5. Who do you like watching out here this weekend? So many great players here. I mean, are there some guys here that you admire and that you enjoy watching their game?
Well, you know, I've played with Brett Helmer and Brian Wegman in the past, and a lot of the guys on that team. You know, Team Mikan member Kevin Philby. There's a lot of talent out here. You know, you get to see a team like Sonny's, who isn't necessarily the top level team, but yet you come to ASA and things kind of equal out, and they compete and gave the Easton team a run for their money last game.
Single by Burns, not enough to bring Larson home. So 1st and 3rd now as Pokraka will come to the plate following that great diving grab out there in right field. And Pokraka looks at a ball. So if you had an opportunity to comprise your own all-star team, I don't want to get you in any trouble here, but which guys? Let's see, who would be the top 3 off your draft board?
Top 3, you definitely have to find a good pitcher. You know, guys like Andy Purcell, Gino Buck. You know, those guys would be. You know, you got to find a good pitcher, and then all-around guys. Obviously, Bryson Baker, play both sides of the field. Definitely a top pick for me.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, and we talked about it in the first game about the importance of having a good pitcher, and the runs just continuing to mount here for Rip City. Another big base knock right there by Arnold. And it's going to bring home another run.
Off the wall, ends up with a single. Bases were a little, well, they weren't sure he was going to make the catch, so they held up the runners in front of him. So he would have been able to make it to second normally, but big hit. Is Rip City starting to live up to their billing right now and ripping pretty good right here in the capital city of Minnesota, St. Paul.
Yeah, Rip City's got 5 in already here in the inning. What do you think of the dimensions of this yard? Obviously having to battle those last night in the Stadium Power Tour Finals.
I thought the dimensions were good. You know, the wind obviously helped the right-handers last night with the, you know, blowing out a little bit to left, although by the time we hit it died down, so I don't think it was too much of an advantage.
Buettner hits it to short, chance for a double play, and Sonny's instead gets the force out and then they throw to home, and they do get Pokraka trying to slide in at home for the second out, so they get the lead runner.
Danny, one of the things I like about watching the Stadium Power Tour is the camaraderie. You know, we see it. We saw it here. I've seen it everywhere I've been, and I've been around these things for about 7-8 years. You might win. Brett Helmer might win, whoever might win. You guys are always first to congratulate each other. What is that like for you guys?
Last night, you know, the finals is usually the only time we're really kind of rooting against each other. All the other times we want to put on a big show. When we go to a stadium, I want everybody to hit 15 because that's what the fans want to see.
Wow.
So.
I'm going to give a tease. It was a heck of a show last night. And Denny, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us and continued success to you.
Thank you.
Back here in beautiful St. Paul, Minnesota, 12-5. Rip City has finally found their offense. Can Sonny's answer? They are running out of time and running out of innings if they want to try and get back to a rematch against Hortonbach Auto Easton in the championship game. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in the action.
He's coming off a big double and a home run early, just his last at bat and a double earlier, so he's starting to wake up.
Yeah, he's 5 for 7 on the day, and
Say
we're
goodbye
going
to
to
that
make
one.
it 6 for 8. 6 for 8 with his second home run, a no doubt about it shout. Wish I had a tape measure because that one was 400 feet, folks.
I think the train is happy it wasn't on the track at that point, or there might have been a dent in the Burlington Northern Railway.
3-run shot for Chris Greinert, and Sonny's showing some life. After Rip City had opened up a pretty sizable lead, Sonny's pulling back into this one.
Let's go. Get up, fellas.
With one swing of the bat.
That's how quickly it all can change. Take a look at that swing again. So much power than this 6'6" man who can just get around on it quickly. Such a quick, compact swing for such size and strength.
Greinert, another one of those guys who was on the Stadium Power Tour. It was funny because I think it was Bill Wegman who was asked, would you rather, who of course was playing for Hortonbach Auto USA, and we'll see, or Easton I should say, and we'll see him coming up in the championship game again. I think he was asked, compare playing a weekend tournament to playing on the Stadium Power Tour and going to those big league stadiums, getting a chance to hit home runs in front of Major League Baseball fans. And he said, honestly, I'd rather play in the weekend tournaments because on the Stadium Power Tour, you travel for 2 days to swing at 15 pitches.
And you got to get right at it. I'm surprised that these players can do it so well. You're there in the tunnel. There's 50,000 people or more cheering you, watching you, almost like you're a fish in an aquarium. And you got to just stand up there, and your first pitch better be a good one, because you don't have an opportunity to warm up really, a little bit, but not really truly warm up. And they do it, and they do it so well. I hope you have a chance to watch the finals that we'll be having, coming up, when you're going to be able to see these guys put on a show in this stadium, Midway Stadium in St. Paul.
Of course, Brian Wegmer, Bill Hellner, a couple of the all-time greats here in the sport. We'll be seeing them later. And after the walk there by Oliveira, a chance for Sonny's to pull a little bit closer.
One thing that Denny Crine said I found interesting is if he was building a team, he'd start with a pitcher.
Yeah, that is amazing, isn't it?
I'm still trying to, I know pitching's important, but I think your average fan would never imagine that the key player on a slow pitch softball team would be the guy, dishing up the slow pitches. But there is something to it, and I've heard that it isn't just where you put the ball; it's the timing. Can you possibly get the batters out of their rhythm? A lot of it is psychological, and some of the guys that he had mentioned, who were some of the really big names in softball pitching, it isn't just where they pitch the ball; it's their presentation, how they alter their rhythm, what they do with it. But I got to admit, I was even surprised that he'd start with one. I know it's important to have a good pitcher in slow pitch softball at this level. But I don't know if I'd start with one. But that's what Denny. Who's going to argue with Denny Crine?
Well, Denny Crine, his swing is classic, and if he has found a pitcher that can frustrate him, that's a guy he wants on his team.
I just have seen him grow up. If you'd have seen him, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And how he is, he always listens. He's such a polite, soft-spoken guy, but represents the sport so well. Helps young men and women when they ask questions about softball whenever he's on the Stadium Power Tour. Just a great ambassador for the game.
So Ramirez at the plate, already 3 runs in here in the bottom of the 5th for Sonny's. Ramirez trying to make it more, gets it high up into that wind out in left field, but it's not going to be enough as Wethington able to get under it and make the catch. It will bring in a run, however, as the runners advance. Giel goes all the way to 3rd, and Oliveira comes in to score.
As much as it seemed that Rip City was starting to pull away a little bit in what has been a relatively low-scoring game for slow pitch softball, 12-9, 3-run margin right now. Certainly, 3 runs is nothing.
That's going to be an error there. A hot shot into the hot corner off the bat of Pesso, able to bring a run around, and Dale Brungart, a.k.a. Bubba, unable to handle it.
Well, that's a tough one, though. Bubba's right there. I mean, is there a tougher position than third base? Let's watch this one again. He did get in front of it, and that's the key of any third baseman. But he wasn't able to keep it in front of him enough to be able to make the play.
So you want error or single on there?
I would go error, but I tell you, that's about as tough as an error as you can go.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction, so I'm going with that. But you know what? I could see the case for that being a single because that was a shot. Speaking of a shot, Christensen lines it out to center field for the 2nd out of the inning.
I know we have a lot of softball players and fans watching this, and I think most of them would agree with me. Is there a tougher position than third base in softball? I don't know. You better come ready for every play because you're gonna have bruises where you never thought you could have them.
The only other position is pitcher.
Yeah.
You talk about being there in the hot corner. Well, how about being just 50 feet away from the plate?
The only difference I think at this level, and you can talk to guys like Denny Crine, they're so good at hitting that they can generally avoid a pitcher, and they do it on purpose because they don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Well, a great grab out there by the middle infielder, Sean Buettner, but unable to make the out at first base. But boy, what about a nice cat-like quickness on display there by him to grab it.
Look at that. You can only smile after a play like that because he did just about everything right. Of course, it would have helped a little bit if Andy Schlitz on first base. His foot was off, so even if they would have been able to get him, which I don't think they would have been able to call him safe, but still, what a great defensive play just to make the play and make the throw.
So Aaron Martinez now at the plate with a couple of runners still aboard, 2 away, and just a 2-run game. And Martinez is going to drop one in center, and hustling around to come in and score is Peso all the way from second base. And we're back to a 1-run game here, Mr. Woodley.
Yeah, this is a real classic game, and we're seeing, if you like close contests back and forth, that's exactly what this is. In slow pitch softballs, sometimes you can see those one-sided contests where the guys are crushing the ball and the other team isn't. But this one is a little bit of everything. Home runs, but we're seeing a lot of small ball too.
Davis, who is struggling today, led off the inning with a single, but lines out to center to end the inning, but not before 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big runs. 6 make it for Sonny's in the inning, 12-11, as we'll get ready to go to the 6th here in St. Paul.
ASA Super National, presented by Long Haul Trucking on CBS Sports Network, is being brought to you by Easton Sports. There is a difference, and the difference is Easton. By Miken Sports, elite equipment for the elite player. Miken Sports. And by DeMarini. Upgrade your game with the DeMarini Stadium CL22 and Flipper Aftermath.
Due to time constraints, let's move ahead to the action in the 7th inning. And back here on a beautiful sun-splashed afternoon in St. Paul, Minnesota. Rip City a 4-run lead, looking to get some insurance here. And Mike Woodley liking that weather vane.
Yeah, well, they say when pigs can fly, right? Well, baseball's fly at this minor league park when that's the motto of the St. Paul Saints is a pig. Well, we're seeing softballs flying today, and let's see how this wraps up. We got Rip City trying to hang on to their lead and see if they can pad to it here in the 7th.
Donovan Pokraka, 2 for 2 in this game with a walk, a home run, 3-run shot that he had back in the 3rd inning. Pokraka putting it right down the line and left. That's going to be extra bases, and he's going to hold up and pull into second with a stand-up double to lead things off.
Gotta like this guy. Again, we saw fantastic defensive play by Pokraka in this game now. Some real timely hitting. And this is smart by him too, because sure you can go for the home run, but if you can just get on base and keep moving along, you got that 4-run lead, you get a couple more, it's going to be a lot more comfortable trying to hang on and get this victory.
So the pitcher, Shannon Arnold, not going to be a lot of turnaround time for whoever wins this game, as they will have to face well, as I'm about to set up the championship game, we get a miscue out there in center field, and off and running on the bases is Arnold. He's going to be able to go all the way into third as Justin Davis misplayed that ball out there in center field.
Davis just missed this one. Not sure if the wind might have had a gust. It is starting to gust now. It's not as strong as it was before, but let's take a look at it. It seemed like he had it sized up pretty good. But no, he just it's tough to run backwards in a hurry, and of course went over his head, and he'd like to have that one back.
Yeah, that's a flat-out error on that play as he misjudged it, and 3 bases for Arnold, and a run comes in as Pokraka able to score easily from second base, and that brings up Buettner, who follows that one off, and a 1-2 count.
Rip City this year has been averaging 19 runs a game, giving up 16, so
they played in a lot of close games is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, and that's what makes it exciting. They're right about on pace is what I was really getting at. This is a Rip City game, the way they're playing today.
So Buettner with the 1-2 count. Still nobody out here in the top of the 7th. The bouncer to short, and Buettner will be put away. Peso on the throw.
There's a look at some of the action today, Dave. Look at this. Look at these balls. Rip City ripping the ball.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a show. Whoever gets into Hortonbach Easton in that championship game, because both these teams that are on the field here, Sonny's and Rip City, can put it out, and we know Hortonbach is capable of putting it out as well.
It's going to be a fun final. Looking forward to seeing it. I'm impressed by what I see from, well, both teams really, but Rip City, I didn't really know a lot of the players other than, a few of the guys, of course. We know Larson, we know, Brugart, we know a little bit about Barnett, but a lot of these guys aren't really guys that we've heard a lot about in softball, but they're playing well as a team.
Quick out there for Keith Wethington, and so 2 away. Andy Schlitz now with a runner on third, does not want to leave the runner stranded. A 5-run lead in this game might be all right, Mike, because it hasn't been the explosive type of game that you can sometimes see with these big sluggers. But overall, 5 runs, you want more than that.
Yeah, anytime that you got the tying or the winning run in the hole even, you certainly can't get comfortable.
And Schlitz sends it down the line. The little blooper drops in and looks like a line drive in the box score. RBI single for Schlitz.
He'll take it. That wasn't by design, but if you put your bat on the softball, you never know what could happen. He fell right in the right spot.
Hit it where they ain't.
Yeah, Schlitz wasn't really a threat to go to second, but they're ready to make the throw regardless.
So Tiernan now at the plate, still looking for his first hit of the day. In fact, was officially tabbed with a strikeout. The only strikeout we've seen so far on this afternoon in his last at bat when he fouled with 2 strikes.
You don't mark a K in the book too often in this level of softball. It does happen though occasionally.
And Tiernan gets under that one, pops it up, and that's going to be an easy put out, and that is the 3rd out. So Rip City comes up with a couple of runs to pad their lead. They'll go to the bottom of the 7th, up 6 over Sonny's. We have reached the bottom of the 7th here at the ASA Super National second semifinal, and Sonny's need some runs, but they've shown in this game they have the capability of getting them in a hurry.
Let's see if they can do it now. Here's a look at some of the offense. There's Greinert with another home run. He had a couple of them here. Of course, he came up just short his last at-bat. They're going to have to pick it up a little bit, get some of this type of offense if they want to come back and make a run at this thing. But they have every opportunity. This game is by no means in the hands of Rip City.
4 home runs in all for Sonny's here in this game. 2 of them have come off the bat of Chris Greinert. And Greinert could be a factor later on in the inning if Sonny's can get something going, but he isn't due up for quite a while. Leading things off is Alexis Ramirez. Ramirez does have a home run in this game. In fact, he hit the first home run of the game for Sonny's, and that's hit right on the screws, but hit right down the line and fielded beautifully by Brungart.
Yeah, earlier we had a debate if that was if Bubba made an error or it was a hit. This time he just made a great play. Let's see it again. Quick reactions, third base. Mentioned tough place to play. Kept his glove on it, never lost sight of it. Makes the play in the out.
So Peso, as Sonny's down to their final 2 outs, although we know they can score runs with outs. They proved that in the first game against Hortonbach Easton, as they scored their first 10 runs of that game, all with 2 outs. They only have 1 out here, so still plenty of time to get something going.
Yeah, and you got to get some of these guys like Peso on base so we can get back around, so they can get back around and have an opportunity maybe to get a couple of those long balls and eclipse this 6-run lead.
Peso thought he had ball 4 there, but it does just get a piece of the plate. And so a full count now, 3-2.
Base runners are so important. That's why Peso's, normally you don't like a walk in softball, but that would have been a key one.
And Peso gives that one a ride, but it is just a long out there on the warning track as Wethington able to bring it down.
Wethington doing a nice job in left field. Again, battling the elements, a little bit of the wind, not quite as strong as it was when the game opened up.
And you see the smile there on Wethington. He knows his team is just 1 out away from advancing to the championship and having a shot at being crowned the ASA Super National 2013 champion. And we're going to have a pinch hitter here for Sonny's, as Kevin Ballard is going to check in, and he will bat for Sammy Christensen.
As you see, last game, 1 for 5, a single and a run. didn't seem to have a lot of rhythm in that opening game where just a 2-run loss for his team, and he's batting from the left-handed side. But something's going on. Sonny Pilcher, the manager, having a feeling that Ballard's the man here, so he's getting his opportunity.
Sonny's needs a lot of things to go right now. Down 6 with just 1 out remaining, and that is going to be out of the yard, but it is going to be well foul.
Ballard got around a little too quick, trying to go down the line. 320 down the line, as we talked about before. It was 330 for the quarterfinal game, so they're happy to see that a little bit smaller.
Ballard goes the opposite way for the single, so Sonny's still hanging on.
Big smile on his face.
Daniel Bean, the pitcher, will come in. Of course, he came in earlier in the game, back in the 4th inning, and pinch hit for Carl Blank, who started the game.
Ballard will go back on the bench and bring in the bench runner.
Bean, since coming in as a pinch hitter, is 2 for 2 in this game. Bean was 3 for 5 in that first national semifinal. So overall, Bean having a pretty good day at the plate, 5 for 7. All they want is a base hit. They just want to keep getting batters up to the plate.
Such a big time in this game right now as Sonny's hoping to somehow find a way to get those 6 runs across, tie the game, or possibly get 7.
And look at this. Bean with another base hit. So the game continues to be extended for Sonny's.
They had 22 hits in that loss earlier to that Easton squad. They actually out-hit the team that they lost to by a couple of hits. So they can hit the ball. They got to place them right now, get some runners on, and then they got to get a couple of home runs.
Aaron Martinez, you see his numbers there here in this game, and Martinez trying to go the opposite way. If they can get it around past Martinez, it'll be the top of the order with Davis, Cunningham, and then Greinert. And Greinert already a couple home runs on the afternoon. 4 runs driven in, a couple of runs scored.
And Oliveira's right behind him if they can get to those guys. And Oliveira's got a home run in this game, 2 in the previous game, so those guys are certainly swinging confidently for the fence.
Well, right now it's all up to Martinez, and Martinez tries to get it through the right side of the infield. It's mishandled over there by Barnett, and that is going to keep the game alive. Bases now full.
Barnett did a nice job to get to it, but just couldn't. It just kind of gobbled him up when he got there, and that's just what they need right now. This is just what Sonny's need. Base runners are important. Now with bases loaded, an opportunity to take a nice big chunk out of that 6-run lead.
And back up the middle, Arnold may have gotten a glove on it and played to second base, and they're going to say not in time. So an infield single and a run in.
About as close of a play as you can find. You see so many plays at second. Let's take a good look here. Again, nice job to get to the ball, up at it. Had to wait a minute for the second baseman to get there. I think that's a good call.
Well, considering he never even stepped on second base, it's a great call. Well, but from our angle initially, it looked like it was even closer. But hey, nice hustle running the base pass there to get into second base in a hurry by Martinez.
You could see a phantom out on second in any level of baseball, but that one you got to give him due.
And that ball's fair. It's a grand slam, and they're looking it over, and they're looking around, and they're saying home run. Grand slam by Charles Cunningham.
Wow.
And oh my. Wow. Just like that, we got ourselves a 1-run game.
Cunningham, who has that big bat, the 30-ouncer, swung it hard and fast. Here's a look at it.
Mike, I thought this was going to be foul.
Yeah, it looked like it, but it just stayed clear. It stayed fair. Wind blowing straight out now. You could see it about 5 feet inside the fair pole, right into the SS Porcher. And we're getting close to a time when Rip City may be concerned about not seeing an extra inning.
All right, so now guess who's coming to the plate? Chris Greinert.
think he can hit a home run? 6'6", nearly 300 pounds. Stadium Power Tour veteran, leader of this team. 2 home runs in this game already. Couldn't be much more dramatic than this did.
So let me ask you this. Do you even pitch to him? You got the bases empty with 2 outs.
The guy behind him has 3 home runs today, including 1 in this game. So how do you load him up and then put yourself in a position where you're going to lose the game?
This may be one of those unintentional intentional walks where they're not going to give him anything really to hit.
A home run ties it, though.
And Greinert, and that is going to be mishandled out there in the middle infield position. And Greinert, and nice heads up base running, does get into second base.
That's key, though, because now with Oliveira coming up, now he's in scoring position. If he can get anything opposite field or something works his way, Greinert's got a good opportunity to score. Again, these are 75-foot bases. If you're watching this wondering why they're right inside there, 75 feet, but still it's a good distance.
Jamie Tierney continuing to shake his head over there. Knows that he should have had a play on that ball.
He's made great plays in this game today, but that's one that might stick with him for a long time.
And they're not giving Oliveira a chance to make any noise. They intentionally sent him to first base to set up the force, and also basically because they'd rather pitch to Westy Gill.
Hard to argue with that one, especially with first base open. I mean, this makes sense. Right now, the tying run, of course, is at second. Oliveira represents the winning run. So what Gill does right now is not nearly as important, since he doesn't have at least the effectiveness at the plate today that Oliveira has had.
Sonny's already 5 runs in the inning. This could be your ball game right here. Gill with a base hit, a chance to tie it, an extra base hit wins it, or an out wins it for Rip City.
Doesn't need to go deep. He's got a double, a walk, and a run.
And Gill lays into one. And that is not coming back, folks. That is well gone. A 3-run home run walk-off style for Sonny's. What a finish to this second national semifinal. Sonny's comes all the way back and erases a 6-run deficit to win it. And they will go on to the ASA Supernational Championship game.
Westy Gill. You're looking for heroes on a team beforehand. What a nice way to end it for this team to come back and go all the way from 6 runs down to take the walk-off lead.
Unbelievable finish. 20-18 is your final. Sonny stays alive. Rip City going home. Back with more after this quick timeout here on CBS Sports Network.
You don't have to know a thing or the right words to sing, 'cause all you gotta do is stay here for a while and be you.
The white sands, warm waters, and unmistakable fun of Panama City Beach are waiting. So plan your trip to the real fun beach today at visitpanamacitybeach.com.
It's time to relax and get real.
The 2014 DeMarini Flipper Aftermath is your ticket to ride for high-level ASA play. Locked and loaded with DeMarini's new and improved divergence technology, the massive sweet spot on the Aftermath is extended horizontally around the barrel, making this the bat of choice for any serious ASA league and tournament players. Join players like DeMarini long-haul bombers Chris Larson, Donovan Pekraka, and Dale Brungaard and take total control of your game. DeMarini, insane dedication to performance. New this season, the Miken KF30 Kevin Philby Supermax 100% composite and Miken's HPI epoxy produces a game-changing level of performance. Check out Miken's Denny Crine DC41 Supermax hyperbolic barrel flex technology, delivering a 20% bigger sweet spot. Both bats are engineered utilizing 100% premium aerospace grade fiber to deliver Miken's legendary performance and durability. Miken, made in the USA.
I grew up on a farm in a small town upstate New York, and I got started in slow pitch. I was still in high school, believe it or not. I could hit a softball over 300 feet, so it was just kind of one of those things where I just had that natural power when I was 15 years old. I don't have to have the hottest performing bat. I have to be comfortable when I'm in the box It is really about what's going to give you the best chance for success. We have something for everybody. Honestly, just come out and swing them. The response to our whole line for this year has been tremendous. They're legit, absolutely awesome.
ASA Softball, the national governing body of softball in the United States. Follow us at asasoftball.com or on Facebook or Twitter. It's time to get out and play ASA.
Long Haul Trucking, an industry leader in on-time delivery and safety. Long Haul is looking for quality drivers ready for a high-paying, stable career. Long Haul quite simply has the coolest trucks on the road, featuring the revolutionary retractable tarping system. Every load is delivered on time and damage-free. If you're a dependable driver, ready to go the extra mile for our valued customer, log on now, longhaultrucking.com. Long Haul Trucking, running on the power of promises kept.
What a finish to National Semifinal number 2 here at the ASA Super National. Sonny's a walk-off winner to advance to the championship. The man who hit the walk-off standing by right now with the third member of our broadcast crew, Natalie Nias.
Guys, thank you so much. I have Westy Guell right now. Game-winning home run. That was quite a hug you got from all your teammates.
Yeah, they gave me bear hugs, and I got punched in the chest, and they act like I never hit a home run before. It was pretty wild.
Who punched you in the chest?
My coach, as I'm running around third, Sonny, I want to give him a handshake, and he swings and hits me in the chest. I was like, I guess that's a congratulations. I don't know.
There you go. And we're actually taking a look at that home run right now. What did you think as bat connected with ball?
Honestly, right when I hit it, I knew it was gone, and I turned and I screamed at my guys, and I just said, "Let's go," because I knew it was gonna go, and they were like, "Hey, run the bases! You got to run the bases!" And I was like, "Dang it, yeah, I do."
Yeah, you have to run the bases to make it count for sure. Now, you made a sweat out there, your team. You know, right up until the end, Rip was dominating.
Absolutely, and you know what? Even the game before, we kind of started off slow. We were bunching our outs, and we weren't getting a lot of runs in a row, and we needed 7 right there to win it, and it was the biggest 7 runs we had all day.
That's softball for you. It can happen just like that. Thank you so much, Westy. Appreciate it. Congratulations. All right, we're going to head back up to the guys. Guys?
All right, thank you very much, Natalie. What a finish here to ASA Super National Semifinal number 2. Sonny's with a walk-off win. They live to see another day. They will take on Hortonbach Auto Easton in the championship game. We'll have coverage of that for you tomorrow night here on CBS Sports Network, along with the finals of the Long Haul Bombers Stadium Power Tour. For scores, highlights, features, and more, go to cbssports.com. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. So long from St. Paul, and thanks for watching.